Thanks for joining us for the Purdue University CME Group Ag Economy Barometer January 2021 survey results. I'm Jim Mintert, Director of the Purdue Center for Commercial Agriculture, and I'm going to share with you some of the highlights from this month's survey. The Ag Economy Barometer dropped 7 points to a reading of 167 versus 174 in December, and the decline was really attributable to weaker expectations about the future. The index of future expectations declined 10 points to a reading of 151 compared to 161 in December, whereas the index of current conditions was virtually unchanged with a reading of 199 versus 202 a month earlier. We asked farmers about their expectations regarding their farm's financial performance compared to last year. And if you look at results over the last 3 months, clearly farmers are much more positive about their farm's financial performance, with 30 to 33% of the farmers saying they expect their farm's financial performance to be better than last year. About 17% of the farms in this month's survey said they expected to have a larger operating loan this year than they did last year. That compares to about 15% of the farms that felt that way a year ago. We followed up and asked them why they expected to have a larger operating loan, and this year just 20% of the farms that were expected to have a larger operating loan said it was because they were going to carry over an unpaid balance on their operating loan from the prior year. That compares to 35% that said that last year. When you work through the numbers, what that really means is about 3 to 4% of the farms in this month's survey are experiencing some degree of financial stress, and that's down from last year when 5 to 6% of the farms in the survey were feeling some degree of financial stress. For the second month in a row, the Farm Capital Investment Index came in at a record high 93, as farmers continue to think this is now a relatively good time to make investments in their farming operation. We followed up and asked farmers about their plans for farm machinery purchases in the upcoming year compared to a year ago. And that has changed markedly over time. On the January survey, just 36% of the farms in the survey said they plan to reduce their farm machinery purchases, whereas 15% said they plan to increase their purchases. And that is markedly different than the responses we were getting back in the spring when, for example, in May, 65% of the farmers planned to reduce their machinery purchases, whereas only 4% planned to increase their purchases. We continue to ask farmers about their farmland price expectations, and farmers are very optimistic about farmland values in the upcoming 12 months. A record high 43% of the respondents in this month's survey said they expected to see higher farmland values in the upcoming 12 months. We continue to ask farmers about their expectations regarding changes in policies that might affect U.S. agriculture in the next 5 years. Compared to responses we received in October before the November election, farmers are telling us that they are much more concerned about the possibility of seeing more restrictive environmental regulations in agriculture. They're also concerned about higher estate taxes, and they're also concerned about higher income taxes. There's been a lot of interest this winter about the possibility of farmers being paid to capture carbon on their farms. So we asked farmers in this month's survey if they are aware of any opportunities to receive payments for capturing carbon on their farm. 30% of the farmers in our survey said they were aware of some opportunities in that arena. We followed up with those folks that said they were aware of opportunities and asked whether or not they had engaged in any discussions regarding receiving payments for capturing carbon on their farms. And roughly 1 out of 5 farmers that said they were aware of opportunities said they had actually engaged in some discussions about carbon capture on their farms. There's been a lot of interest in the willingness of various segments of the U.S. population to take a COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it becomes available. We started asking questions on this topic going back to October. In October, just 24% of the respondents in our survey said they planned to get the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it was available to them. That increased significantly in both November and December, and then really jumped in January when 58% of the respondents in our survey said they plan to get the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it's available to them. That wraps up our discussion of the January Purdue CME Group Ag Economy Barometer. For more details, you can go to our website, purdue.edu/agbarometer. And you'll also discover that we have a webinar coming up on February 10th, focused on the corn and soybean outlook, which follows USDA's release of the February crop production and world ag supply demand estimates. More details available on that at our website, purdue.edu/commercialag. On behalf of the Purdue Center for Commercial Agriculture, I'm Jim Mintert. Thanks for joining us.